What's up, guys? Subzarek here, back for another VOD review. Today, doing a game from America's Regionals, and we are watching some Robinsongz here, because Robin, this is actually a game from day 2. His performance in day 2 was solid enough that he made it to the final day. He didn't win the entire tournament, but he had a great performance across this tournament. Obviously, he won one of the previous cups, the Star Guardian Cup. So Robin's somebody who's just had an insanely consistent performance. I mean, the fact that he won a cup, the fact that he made it to final lobby of regionals, he is guaranteed going to Worlds. He would have been going to Worlds based on his regionals performance, but he was guaranteed before that going to Worlds just because of the fact that he won the Star Guardian Cup. So Star Guardian Cup. So it's going to be hyped to see Robin at Worlds here. We have kind of some pieces of openers here. We have a lot of. We even have 4 Soul Fighter if we want to hold it on to it here. And yeah, we're gonna go into first augment here. So Attack Kitchen Wraith Crown starter kit. I mean, I don't think it's Wraith Crown. When have you been excited to take this entire set? Never. And starter kit, I think, is just a little underpowered. Tactician's Kitchen, I think, is pretty solid as well. Going long is an interesting idea. I mean, I think it's certainly between Tac Kitchen and going long right now, and he's hovering over it. I haven't seen too many people take going long, over the past while, but yeah, he is going to pick up the going long, and this is going to be his idea here. Going to hover the augment, as every person has to do when they take it, just to remember if this is what the augment does. And of course, we will go for the double level here. Why not? Okay, and we're going to make the gargoyle onto Jin Zhao here, power him up, go for round 2, and he's thinking about tiering somebody, but he opts to not tier the Lux just because we might actually need to throw this tier onto Callista because we're, Callista paired in this spot. So I like this line, and also we are going to sadly lose this fight a little close there. We do end up losing a little bit sad here, and he's gonna have to play the Swain here. Yeah, this looks even better. We get Sorkin on this board. So we're going to start off with just a Soul Fighter opener. I will say, since 4 Soul Fighter has been buffed, I do feel like Soul Fighter opener is one of the best openers that you can come across. I still don't really know why they buffed up 4 Soul Fighter that much, because it already felt pretty solid to me. But now, any chance you get to play 4 Soul Fighter, I think you should be excited to go for it. And that's what Robin's doing here. The other thing is, okay, so what are we, considering playing this game? We pick up a Karma, which is kind of funny. Prior to B-Patch, you would be so hyped about this, and you would be like, all right, we're playing Mighty Mech GG's. But sadly, Mighty Mech, was nerfed pretty hard, and so we're even going to completely sell this Karma off here and just go for the extra level here. Once again, taking going long, no need to hold any of our gold for extra XP. We might as well, push level 6 here and be as strong as possible in spots like these. And also, get those pre-leveled level 6 shops. Next shop is going to be a level 6 shop. Maybe we find a 4-cost, and we already found Karma, who we're not too excited about. So what's the direction here for Robin? I mean, I think there is a very easy, very reasonable direction in this spot, which is just Soul Fighter, which is kind of interesting. I think Soul Fighter is one of those comps that's like a little bit, underplayed. People aren't jumping out of bed to play vertical Soul Fighter. They're just kind of like, I guess if I have to, I'll play around it. But Robin's saying, we have all this tempo. We are actually going to just we are going to play around vertical Soul Fighter. Soul Fighter definitely feels very much like one of these tempo comps where when you're playing it from ahead, it feels very, very good, because I mean, it's a pretty cheap comp, all things considered. You're playing a lot of 1 and 2 cost units on the board, and so you can play this very much as one of these kind of like tempo lines where you just want to, get there as quickly as possible, get to your 6 Soul Fighter and, hopefully eventually your 8 Soul Fighter, and then play around that and use that to stabilize your board and use that to eventually make it to, ideally, 8 Soul Fighter from either high rolling Gwen, getting an emblem, pushing level 9, all this kind of stuff. That's where the comp feels like it caps quite highly. Though honestly, you've seen more and more people, and we'll see what Robin wants to do here, play around just the 6 Soul Fighter. I think I was looking at the stats the other day, and it said 6 Soul Fighter on level 8, even if you hit something like a Gwen, it's not necessarily that you're supposed to drop stuff down and play 8 Soul Fighter. Oftentimes, if you especially find a Braum, and you can play that Braum Volibear on this board, which gives you Bastion, Edgelord, and Luchador. That's really when it makes sense to actually not even play Vert Soul Fighter here. He's going to opt to make the IELW here. Great items for eventually the Samira here. We do pick up the Rise and the Akali here in Rise. Yep, going to go onto the board here to give us that good mentorship bonus. We do have the Akali as well that we can fit in for 3 Executioner. Yeah, this is a cool little version of the board. Sadly, Rise Akali, not, a crazy nice vertical line, or else maybe we'd consider playing something like that. Man, I will say, I hope we will see. We will see. But what about the return of flex play in set 16? Because like you really feel like you would want to play around this Rise and Akali, but I don't know that we are even going to play around the Rise and the Akali here. We don't really have the items for it. Teeniest Titan here, Giant and my Circ. I mean, I just like solid combat here. We're 97 HP win streak and we're very, very strong here. I would just take this and, you know, use it to streak in this spot here. See, Buried Treasures was an interesting idea as well. I think I'd still take the Giant Mighty for the synergy, but yeah, he's going to take the Buried Treasures. I mean, I think it's very solid here. Ooh, we get the sword that we can just slam into the Shojin here. This gives us another slam. I mean, it is very valuable to get to a ton of different items in this comp when you're thinking about, you know, obviously you want to, in general, your priority in TFT should be get to 3-item tank, 3-item carry. And we have our 3-item carry done already here. These items are just going to go into Samira and we feel good about them. And then we need to get to our 3-item tank. But, you know, this is a comp that has duo carries, the most obvious of them being Gwen. If you can get to, you know, 3-item tank, 3-item carry, 3-item Gwen, maybe some utility items on Gwen, or even utility items, you know, in other spots, it's very solid. Pick up a Cloak here, which is very nice. We'd love to just, yeah, slam another tank item here. Can't make even Shroud is the only thing because we made LW already, so you need to not think about that. But Declaw, Gargoyle, even Adaptive Helm, you could see being decent here, all reasonable. And yeah, this the Xin Zhao with the round 2 power up, I feel like has done so much work. Also, we're just rotating into not the strongest of boards. Quintanilla here, who has Crystal Gambit in. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people, especially as Crystal Gambit has got better and better and better. People are going to say, oh, I'll play Crystal Gambit stage 3, spike really hard, end of stage 3 or early stage 4, and we're happy that we're fighting those kind of guys because we can get those fight wins for free here. There is a Samira on Carousel. We are last pick, so it'll be hard to pick up, though. I think we might. Oh my God. That was so close between him and JD here. JD does not snipe it. So we get the Samira. This is 6 Soul Fighter with our extra Soul Fighters, and we also get the extra Gargoyle here. Great slams from Robin. Going to move the items over to Samira immediately, saying a Samira 1 is going to be better than a Callista 2. I think this makes a lot of sense just from unit quality. The Samira unit on Samira 1 honestly seems pretty good, especially with the Shojin as well, which is just, I mean, such a good item for Samira to guarantee that she gets that last big cast off and clear the board. Honestly, a really close fight here versus JD, who is also win streaking, but we do pick up the win here, which is really, really nice. Holding on to the Shen, and yeah, we immediately get him in here. Shen, a great extra unit on this board. We're gonna take on the Edge. This is kind of a bread and butter Samira power up here with the extra HP from Soul Fighter and the Omnivan from Edgelord. Usually you can get away with taking this. There are kind of scary situations where, you know, your Samira can get blown up. I mean, losing 35% of your HP right at the start is not great, but there's not too many kind of like crazy backline access comps right now, I feel like. So, you know, especially stuff like Ashe is very front to back. Yeah, there's not too much crazy backline access, so I don't think you have to feel too bad about you know, taking something like on the Edge. And I mean, you see a lot of people take it very highly. I mean, we have a guard break that we could make. The only downside is then we'd have to move LW over. I mean, I'd ideally put these on like Gwen. We'll see how much Robin wants to roll for here, because I mean, we are basically pre-leveled up to level 8. And yeah, let's look at items here. Okay, and he is gonna roll deep. Okay, let's look at items first, and then we can talk about the rolls. He hovered the Morello for a second and then opted maybe not necessarily to slam it. I mean, I see something like a Morello Steadfast. You need to get to a 3rd item onto Shen here, or onto Xin Zhao here. You'd love to make the Warmogs, but that kills your heal cut component, so I don't think you make that. I do think it's probably something like Steadfast, Morello here, maybe Guard Breaker, and then you move the LW over. Ugh, I really hate moving the LW over is the other thing. Morello Guard, or Morello Steadfast, Nashers, and you go for JG on, we do get an extra item here, which is Cloak. Maybe that can be another tank item. All right, we are rolling very, very deep here for upgrades. So Robin's saying we are not going to make this like a quick, fast 9 kind of setup because we know there's so much stuff for us to hit here. So yeah, he rolls really, really deep here. Opts to make the Morello here. We'll see. I mean, he did get, he's going to opt to make TG off that glove and then, yeah, make a triple Gargoyle and even the Nashers as well here. Yeah, I mean, this looks really, really nice now that we have that other component that lets us make this Gargoyle here. Allows us to make the TG as well, which is pretty solid onto the Viego here. Ooh. These are all interesting options. So Lucky Loves, obviously, then you could have double TG. Throw that onto you plus our Edgelord plus like maybe a Bully Bear or something. I mean, that seems pretty solid. Soul Fighter Circlet also guarantees you your 8 Soul Fighter now, which could maybe allow you to make it to you know, the Soul Fighter Prismatic win out, which is pretty interesting. And then Tiny But Deadly, I think, is just generically pretty solid. The attack speed is like kind of meh on somebody like Samira, I guess, is the only thing. Maybe it's just Lucky Gloves here. I don't think the attack speed is that valuable on this board, actually. Yeah, he's looking at rerolling that and just, you know, take the TG and be pretty happy with it. Yeah, I think the Circlet is just too bad here, and we do take this. We hit set 2, and that is probably our cue to stop rolling. Set 2 with a lot of other upgrades. We're going to move items over, take stand alone. Yeah, I like this a lot here on his set. He's actually going to continue rolling here and opts to yeah, keeps the rolls coming and finds Volley too, which is a big upgrade as well. So Robin, not really interested in making this a super fast 9, would rather, you know, keep up the pressure, keep his win streak going here, hit, you know, some upgrades here, and we do get rewarded in finding the Volley Bear too. We're going to win this fight here, obviously. Lock shop for that. Boom, that's Volley too. I wonder if now he'll stop, because it seems we have some repair. That's the big reason why he rolled earlier. When people always ask me in like coaching and stuff like this, like, you know, like when do I know versus like, you know, when to continue rolling versus when to stop rolling. And I mean, as the answer to all things in TFT is, it depends. But, you know, in a spot like that where we were Volley paired, we were Samira paired, Robin was just saying the value of rolling is so high that I am going to roll here, especially when we have going long, which is not really going to penalize us. It's actually going to kind of incentivize us to roll to 0 here. Also, this fight, oh, so close. If Set could have got that last cast off, I think we would have won this fight, but just barely doesn't get the cast off, so we do just barely lose the fight to that board, which is pretty rough. But I mean, not the end of the world here. We have these items onto Lux for now. Would love just some kind of last Gwen item. I mean, I could see the Rod for eventually like a JG. There's also Sword for Edge of Night. But yeah, I'm going to take Rod here. I mean, the JG, I feel like, would give you a lot more value out of this this Nashers. And yeah, he is pretty much at this point, looks like, you know, going to push level. The Lucky Gloves doing really good work here. I mean, just such a nicely played game so far, just showing off the power of the Soul Fighter board, which once again, you know, it's not what people consider like the S tier, but when you end up in a spot for it, you end up in a spot for it. The other thing I will say that Robin did a really good job of this game is prioritizing those tank items. I do feel like this is a comp where in the past, when I play this comp without really good tank items, I felt really bad about it. And, you know, triple tank items with the triple, you know, gargoyle with the HP from Soul Fighter and the HP from Standalone, I feel like does put you into an amazing spot tank stats wise. So Robin doing a lot of scouting here just to make sure, you know, nobody's going for 3-star 4 costs, seeing how many, you know, potential Samiras are out of the pool and things like that. But not too bad here. Nothing, you know, crazy out of the pool. So looks like we'll be fine here, and we'll see if we can close this stage out with a win, which would be huge here. And ooh, it's close, but we're gonna lose to the Xayah 3 board, but not the end of the world. We are still, you know, looking at our level 9 here, and it'll be interesting to see how Robin does end up capping the board, because you can't play it all. You can't play 8 Soul Fighter and Volley Bear and Braum without, you know, an emblem, obviously. So we'll see if he wants to drop down and play something like an 8 Soul Fighter Volley Bear. If he does want to just, you know, stay on 6 the whole game, which, you know, the stats don't completely hate. Death. No, this Void, but then you have to make a second Morello. Archangel now. I was looking at Death Cap and then the healing item. I guess he's gonna go for Archangel here. I'm kind of surprised about this Archangel slam. He has these components left over, but I mean, we're gonna have to make the Nashers at some point. I mean, I really would have liked JG to pair with the Nashers, or, you know, like an Edge of Night for Gwen, because that's where these items are going. Oh, maybe his idea is that it's gonna be Nashers, Archangels, and the Morello. I feel like it has to go onto Gwen though. All right, we level up. We do find the Braum here. We do have Zyra that we can just fit in here, which, you know, pretty solid here. We can move items over to Braum, throw Nashers onto the Zyra. That does, yeah, give us another holder of these AP items, which we're kind of looking for in this spot because we're kind of overloaded here. We have the triple items that are going to go onto Gwen, and then we have this leftover Nashers, and so the Zyra can do a pretty good job of holding that as a +1 unit. So I think this looks pretty good. We're going to rotate into a pretty strong Star Guardian board. Ooh, yeah, with 2-star Seraphine. Yuck. We still don't have our 2-star Samira. We opted to push 9 before finding Samira 2, just because we knew, I mean, it would be so valuable to find the Samira. Ooh, now we end up in this really awkward spot where we rolled it to 0, but we found a Zyra. So now what? Do you want to lock here for the Zyra, or just opt to pass it by? I think because we're going into Carousel, I would just lock this here, because there's a world where there's a Zyra on Carousel and we just get Zyra 2 off Carousel, which would be a pretty decent spike. We'll see if he cares enough about it. He's not locking so far. It looks like he's saying, you know what, Zyra 2 is not enough of a spike here. I really need my Gwen. I really need my my Samira 2 here. So yeah, he opts not to lock here. There's JG, by the way, if we want to pick it up to pair with the Nashers, and then the Archangel can just move down to the Zyra. That we'd really like to hit Gwen this round here. Okay, we do hit it. That's big here, so that we don't have to have a kind of an awkward remover setup. And we hit, oh my god, the Samira here, which is huge. So Nashers, JG, oh, he's gonna no, yeah, it must be this, right? Yeah, it must be this. And then Archangels onto Zyra. Yeah, I think this makes perfect sense here. All right, well, we have kind of made it at this point to our board here. We found the Samira 2 and the Gwen, which are both huge power spikes. Still, though, we do, have a prismatic econ augment, so we got to be careful here. We rotate into Quintanilla here, who actually has a kind of a similar board to us. Yeah, let's look at Quintanilla's board as well. Another player who did very, very well. So Quintanilla is more like a 6 Bastion setup here, 6 Bastion plus Samira, kind of similar to that game that we saw from the APAC finals. So that was more of like a juggernauts and type thing there, but playing around the kind of link between Samira and Volibear and a lot of these other Fast 9 style boards. All right, so we had to lock for this Gwen. Gonna roll. I mean, he might not even roll here, because why should we? He's removing power up. He's removing standalone. Is he gonna look for? I mean, it must still be a set power up, right? Gonna opt to take round 2. It's fine, I guess. Round 2 on this guy. I'm kind of surprised. In my head, I think this power up is worse than standalone. We're not playing super vertical jug, so at least at least we're getting a triple gargoyle dummy. But is that really that good? Especially you set dies, then drops aggro. I don't know. Seems mediocre to me. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised back when ROM 2 is very good, and we will take that. I'm kind of surprised he opted to take standalone over Tankzilla back then. But all right, 23 HP here. It's a little scary from an HP, saving perspective. We could easily die very, very fast here if we just take a couple more losses. Once again, this is a very much a tempo style comp here. JG for the Zyra. It's not like we're going to cap out disgustingly high, especially versus things like Fast 9 or like Ash boards. I think the Gwen 2 would go a long way in helping us. But yeah, I mean, it is also interesting. He has no regard for this 8 Soul Fighter idea. He definitely wants to play this version. In his head, this is the most capped version, which I think, based on the stats that I was looking at, makes sense, especially after nerfs to things like 8 Soul Fighter. Oh my god, we win with the plant! That fight was so insanely close. Continue to roll down here. Maybe this can be our... You must sell this and roll, right? Yeah, he does. I mean, I would just roll the 0, just because there's always a world where you hit like a Gwen plus a like Lux in your shop or something, and then you can downgrade your Lux and get the extra gold from that and find Gwen. It only works if you have a little bit of gold. You can't do that on 0 gold. All right, rotate into another Star Guardian. Well, this is more like Fast 9 Star Guardian type stuff. Player here from Jungle Book. Gonna take a scary loss here. Yeah, the Seraphine 2 just so strong. Top 3 locked in for Robin. He should be pretty happy with that. And then once again, we're gonna roll and try to find Gwen, but we don't find it. 9 HP here, about to rotate into JD here. I mean, I think a very solid third from Robin if we do end up dying here. Didn't find the Gwen at all. And yeah, I mean, going long is an augment that plays for things like thirds. This is not an augment that says win out the entire lobby. JD triple combat augment, Star Guardian board with double Radiant items on Jinx and a Seraphine 2 looks pretty tough. Our board gets slated though. Wait, Seraphine, hold the line? Nah, not holding enough the line. Still, like I said, very, very solid third from Robin, showing off this comp. I mean, I think he did a great job of, playing good tempo, understanding how to play around going long and also how to play around Soul Fighters. And even though we didn't even find Gwen, I mean, it took us so long to even find Samira 2, but still made it to a solid top 3. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my Twitch, Meta, family, stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching as always.